Hi guys, this week was my first full 2 days back at trading after my holiday in Iceland, so I was a little bit out of the loop, but I kept track of all the big gainers while I was away. When I came back, I spent about 2 hours going through all the big runners and narrowing it down to any potential setups, and I found 2 plays that I'd wanted to trade, which were both the first green day bounces. They were both green trades. One was for 19% and one was for 41%, which is my biggest gain so far. I've traded for a 40% gain before, so I've topped it by 1%, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to go into the 41% trade now. So let's go to the chart. So the ticker was ISPC, and this is the daily chart over here on the right. And this is its big day one, so it's a low float stock. And it's had a big run on high volume, which we can see down here. So it's gone from about 75 cents, and it actually went to highs of, even though it says 318, after hours it went up to about 370. So it was up about 392%, and it closed its day one up about 160%. So a nice move on the market and one to keep watch on. So when a stock has a big move like this and it can pull back, have a nice retracement and potentially have a decent bounce, which is the setup I'm looking at, a first green day bounce. So if I go over to the 1 minute chart, this is its day one here, and then pull back after hours, and then on its day two it seems to be basing around here, which is this sort of 116 level. That's where it's gone to pre-market on its day two, and then during its market open on day two, it's holding that risk level of around 116, 117. So why that's of interest is because on day one, where it's jolted upwards, it's come back down, it's tested that 116 level, and then that's where it's found support, and that's where it's continued to have its next move up. So I'm liking that area. That's where it's basing pre-market on day two. It's holding there on day two, and then after hours it's also holding that area. So I'm thinking on day three, if it's holding this low here, that's what I can risk off, and it can potentially bounce from there. Now, if we go across to pre-market on day three, you can see it actually broke that level, which seems to be the theme at the moment, actually. So when I saw it break that level, I was like, oh, that's kind of messed up the setup for me. And then I looked at it again and I saw where it actually gone to, and found a new level of support, which is a really key area, being just under $1. So when I saw that actually it's cracked this level, it's gone down to $1 and it's now pushing off that, I was thinking, you know what, this is going to bounce off $1, which is even more perfect actually. So it took me a while to kind of see the significance of that, and I took a position here at practically the lowest price I could have got in, which is amazing, 104, and I just put about $31 on it, and I'm not really sure why I didn't put more on. I just think I didn't see the significance of this setup. So I think because it broke that low, it threw me off, and then I was thinking, okay, it's going to bounce up $1, but it wasn't as clear cut as it should have been for me. So yeah, the pre-market went on, so I'm now risking off the low of this candle, which is just under $1, so 0.9958 was my risk. And then as I thought about it and pre-market went on, I started to realise that this was a really good setup, and I wanted to add more if I could. So I did get the chance. It came back down here pre-market, and I managed to get in at the exact same price, luckily, of 104. So I put another order in for another $31. So I was now $62 on the trade. And I'm kind of kicking myself at this because by this point, I'd already realised that this is a good setup and I want to add to it. And I should have added more, but I don't know why I didn't. So I only put $62 on the trade, which is kind of medium size for me, but I would have liked to have really put $100, which is closer to full size for me on my small $300 account while I'm learning. But still, you know, got the decent size on it. So I'm in here and yeah, just seeing what it does, and then just waiting for market open really. So the profit targets that I set were, yeah, I always just cross-reference really areas of support and resistance from its day 1 and day 2, and I felt like this could have a really big bounce, and I was expecting this to potentially go up to 2. That was my final profit target, and can see that it didn't reach there, but it had a really nice bounce, and I'm pleased with my sales because I said to myself I'm not going to sell anything until at least 30% because I know what these moves can give, and I stuck to that. So I took my first sell at 135, which was for a 30% gain. I sold a little bit of my position there. I then sold some at 143, 151. The final sell was at 156. So I had left some on because I was expecting this to go further on to, you know, as I said, $2. But I moved my risk up and I thought it's getting closer to the end of the day now, so I'm not sure how much more this is going to push, even though I was thinking surely this will go to 2 today. But as the day went on, that changed. So I can't remember where else I cut, you know, somewhere around here. And yeah, took a total of 41% on this trade. So really nice gain, and that was like a $25 profit. And what's interesting is the next day, so it kind of held this level after hours. The next day pre-market, it started to move again, and it actually went on to have a massive bounce, hit my $2 target and so much more. So it kind of did the move that I thought it was going to do like the next day, which is interesting, and you know, not something I would have held overnight for at all, because it's just not the way I trade. So yeah, kind of did the thing, but a bit of a delay, but you know, I still caught a big chunk of the move on day 2, so really happy with that. Yeah, so that's the trade ISPC first green day bounce. So I'm really excited for my trading this week. July was my first red month. August was kind of building my account back up, and then September I'm seeing my account grow again. So I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm thinking that I might size up from my $300 account to $1,000 starting in October, but just going to see how the month goes. I feel like I've got my setups, I've got my process, I am making money from it even though it's on small size, so the next logical step is to size up, but it is a little bit scary, so I'm weighing it up. I'm in 2 minds, but we'll see how it goes. Cheers for watching, catch you next week.